Hey, I'm Willie from the Zombie Star, and this week in comics, some awesome titles have come out. No number ones, just follow-up issues for this week, but some really cool titles. DC Black Labels coming out from Image and Boom Comics. Let's talk about some issues. From DC Black Label, we're going to start with Batman Reptilian. This is book number 2. Book number 1 was released last month, and it just absolutely blew me away. Don't really need to call this a hard recommendation. Don't even need to say this is for anybody. If you like Batman, you should be reading Batman Reptilian. Being published by DC Black Label, this is a really standalone story to anything that Batman is being, any story that the main DC line is running with Batman. Around 8 issues here, but the thing to really notice here and kind of to take note is that this is written by Garth Ennis, illustrated by Liam Sharp. If you know anything about Garth Ennis, you know that he's the creator of The Boys, things like Preacher, and even worked on Punisher over from Marvel Comics. And so with Preacher and The Boys being already very established shows, it's very interesting that Garth Ennis has decided to kind of bring his own spin and kind of his own story to Batman Reptilian. Don't know if Garth Ennis has ever done anything with Batman before. If he has, let me know. I'd love to read that as well, as this story is really just given that Garth Ennis kind of take on it, but also apart from anything that I think that I've known of his work before. While some of the things that he's done has been kind of zany, over the top, and really exaggerated, he's really taken a slower pace, at least in issues 1 and 2, and really just keeping in kind of tradition with Batman, just being that super detective, just trying to really unravel cases and mysteries, and just solve things that are currently plaguing the city of Gotham. In Batman Reptilian, you are getting a unidentified threat that is really just not only plaguing the citizens of Gotham, but even some of the most known villains. And a who's who's list of Batman villains make an appearance from issue 1 and even in issue number 2, as they are really also victims included in this unidentified threat that Batman is still on the heels of identifying. So really, apart from anything that Garth Ennis has done before, as I feel that this story is really at a much slower pace, but very appropriate for a Batman story, as it is just at its core, just a real mystery story. For now, I'm sure things intend, and it really does look like by the end of issue 2, things are really going to start picking up the pace. But this is a really great story, a really great detective comic, a really great detective story within the world of Batman. Liam Sharp, as the artist, really just needs to take a bow for what he's doing here in Batman Reptilian, as this is something really unique for me as a reader and as a Batman fan. I've talked before about how artists can use deliberate distortions and different kinds of methods to convey a certain feeling, or even just to support the type of story that's being told. To call his artwork dark would be an understatement, as Liam uses a spectrum of colors to bring our villains, Batman, and even the city of Gotham to life. But those kind of mechanics of these deliberate distortions, smear effects, fade effects, and these exaggerated character models for the villains and even Batman really just give you this sense of unease and dread and malice. But of course, gives you the notion that there is something really wrong in the city of Gotham, and is just helping that slow story that Garth Ennis is kind of building up here. And of course, the two just work brilliantly. I could go on and on about Batman Reptilian. This is just a must-read. If you just like reading comic books, read Batman Reptilian. This is going to go for about 8 issues. It's issue 2 this week, so get on this. Let's go over to Image Comics. Very excited to talk about issue number 11 for Dept of Truth. And I think they are due for some congratulations, as issue number 11, if you've picked it up, you will see at the top that Dept of Truth has been nominated not for 1 but for 4 Eisner Awards, including Best New Series for 2021. I've been talking about this since issue 1. Been telling you guys, hopefully you guys have been reading this, hopefully you guys have been enjoying this as much as I have, as this has got to be one of the most unique things currently just in print. I know I've probably said that before about other books, but Dept of Truth really is a standout title. Started in 2020, well into 2021, and it still just continues to grow and evolve as a story. And really happy that it's getting recognized for this. I really hope that it wins. I don't know how Eisner Awards work, but really would throw in my hat for that vote, as this is a very unique story and does need to be recognized for what it does. I have called the Dept of Truth this kind of bottomless rabbit hole, as it follows the main character, Cole Turner. who, I mean, even to issue number 11, is still very unclear about his role in the Department of Truth, and even what the true agenda of the Department of Truth is, as issue number 11 brings to close the story of Bigfoot and Sasquatch. And man, this story takes a dive into the history of early explorers identifying creatures on lands that have never been done before, and how the misinterpretation gets involved into things like the Loch Ness Monster, the Yeti, and of course even Bigfoot and Sasquatch. It touches on concepts of Darwinism, and even the misinterpretations of Darwinism, as it just tells this crazy story of how things got to where they are regarding this specific conspiracy theory of Bigfoot. A very interesting mechanic is used for issue number 11, as it is mostly comprised of this weathered and tattered letter written by a man who is completely obsessed and has kind of lived his life only for identifying and confirming the existence of Bigfoot. Agent Cole Turner is still on the conflicted path of discovering the true agenda of the Department of Truth and trying to figure out what his role is in this department, as he is slowly kind of being educated in the Department of Truth and slowly being recruited into the Department of Truth. Really appreciating the story for just maintaining this pace to really keep you engaged and compelled in this ever-evolving and still evolving narrative. Artistically, I do talk a lot about these deliberate mechanics that really help support the story itself, and Department of Truth has been that since issue number 1. You're still getting these deliberate distortions, these shadowy effects, and deliberately distorted character models to just support that level of the things that are unknown and kind of the things that are mysterious, and that Cole Turner is on kind of the path to solve. Department of Truth, congratulations on the 4 nominations. I am still loving this, and I mean, don't need to recommend it anymore. This is really a lot of fun. Department of Truth, issue number 11. Don't know how far this is gonna go. Hope it isn't anytime soon. This is very well deserved. And of course, since it's Department of Truth, issue number 11, I pick up variants, anything that I can pick up for Department of Truth, and we got some awesome variants kind of showing us that Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti creature that is kind of the focus of these last couple of issues. And check this one out. I mean, I think this is just awesome. But yeah, Department of Truth, issue number 11. From Boom Comics, BRZRKR number 4. I want to talk about where this kind of currently stands. This is still just a lot of fun to read as kind of just an action story. I'm kind of really deviating from my traditional horror and kind of like psychological thriller stories, as this is, you know, a run-of-the-mill action sequence, kind of high adrenaline paced, heavy on gore. Really gonna have to emphasize that. I mean, all the books I read are M for mature, but this is bloody. Every issue is just this crazy bloodbath action nonstop, starring none other than your boy Keanu Reeves. Seemingly, issue number 4 really took me for a spin, and I am just loving the story that they're now trying to mold here regarding our main character, who I'm just gonna say is B. Building a morality tale. In issue number 4. It's been something that's coming since previous issues, but issue 4 really hits hard on this. And even the concept of a person who is in a position of kind of superpowers, and maybe even something like a super soldier, concepts that we've kind of come to know through many forms. But I really appreciate that what they're doing here is kind of the consequences and what happens when you are given this power, but the authority over it belongs to someone else. Manipulation, being taken advantage of, and its effect on that individual. And I really am appreciating that it's kind of taken this deep dive into that morality tale for our main character, and has become like this tragedy for the character as we are learning more. Do not want to give too many spoilers about this. We're already in issue number 4, but I kind of feel the spoil here is really the kind of critical core element of this story as it continues. BRZRKR, seemingly on the surface, is just this thrill ride of an action story, but is really building to be something a lot deeper, and really I'm loving it for that. Artwork has been consistent since the first issue, really giving us that action feel, really picking up on this even cinematic kind of panoramic view of battle scenes, action scenes, but with an emphasis on this gore. The artwork is just not holding back. Can't emphasize that enough. It really is kind of one of the stronger elements for this story, while still giving us this really deep drama story for Berserker. This was the only cover that I got for it. Ooh, I think that looks pretty cool. And I'm just collecting main covers, or just really picking the one that I like the most, because each issue is coming out with, I don't know, like 5 or 6 different variant covers. It's kind of ridiculous. I think I collected some covers for maybe the first 2, but I'm just going to go with one for this. I really am just appreciating this for the story, as this is really picking up narrative-wise, but has not slowed down when it comes to pace. It's pretty relentless. This is Berserker, issue number 4 from Boom, and it's just a lot of fun. And that was it for This Week in Comics, coming in just in time. I don't know, maybe I'm a bit late on these issues. As usual, I really try to read as much as I can. A lot of stuff actually came out this week, and that wasn't all, but it's really just the stuff that I really wanted to talk about, stuff that I was able to gather my ideas about, and just wanted to make that quick video. But thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to visit the website at zombstar.com, and I'll see you guys hopefully for either This Week in Comics coming up, or I just start mixing everything up. I don't know. I read when I can. Thank you guys for watching. See y'all next time.